Hey Shri,
Hi,
so
Sakshi. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing good. Great. Thank
Okay.
you.
Well, it was a great conversation and amazing to learn what the basics of coaching are. But for the sake of your audiences, let's dive a bit deeper into what the coaching process really looks like.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so to start off this episode, tell us a bit about what a typical coaching session looks like.
Okay. First of all, as a coach, we have to understand where the coach is coming from, right? And there are some people coming for a deeper transformation. So typically, any coaching conversation would last for about an hour, even though we cannot define exactly how much time it takes.
Mhm.
There are situations where Kochi feels like talking more, and it's going in a fantastic way, and they are getting ideas, they are exploring. So it is not a good thing to stop abruptly. So even though we plan for 1 hour, sometimes it can go for 1.5 hours. Yeah, it can go. But generally, we say that we are going to block time for say 2 hours. But even though we have intention of completing in 1 hour, we would like to block 2 hours because time should not be a constraint, right? Time should not be a constraint when we start speaking. That is what we do. And generally, see what happens is we give options like, for example, we take an example of workplace. If someone comes to you, there's a challenge, and they may not like to have a series of coaching sessions. They would like to resolve the issue what they are having in front of their hand. So at that time, what we do is instead of having the series of coaching sessions, we may just have one deeper conversation, and that can bring transformation, no doubt about it. And uh, someone who wants to have a deeper transformation, they want to have, so they will come for say sitting to say maybe months time or 6 sittings or 8 sittings. It depends upon the intensity of what they are working on. So generally, I would say 1 hour should be fine for any typical coaching session. Yeah.
Okay. And what about the conversation? Would you say, because and of course, the conversation is the most vital part of the process, right?
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
the coaching session and the program. So, would you say that the coaching program, sorry, the coaching conversation, would you say that it's structured or is it free flowing?
So even though coaching process is structured, as if you say as a process, coaching is structured in terms of like what we do. But what exactly happens is you can never have a structure to it because it is all about being in the moment, right? Being there, being available for the coachee. What kind of questions he asks. There is nothing like there is a, as coaches, no one can follow a rigid pattern, and it is situational because what coachee comes, what kind of questions he brings in, and what is his situation. Based on that, we will see how to take the conversation forward because coaching conversations are always deeper conversations, which requires a lot of reflection, a lot of thinking, creativity, a bit of silence, bit of introspection. So it can never be structured, but we can have a basic structure in mind, like okay, we are going to spend some time in terms of understanding what is the issue, what is it trying to achieve from the coaching conversation. And even though you can have a rough estimate of time or things like that, but in reality, because when we are so engrossed in that conversation, you cannot look into your notes, or you cannot think about the structure you have. It has to be dynamic, it has to be natural, it has to be organic, it has to be creative. Only then coaching works, because see, we are not talking about 1 2 3 4 5. It is about going deeper, understanding uh, the core aspects, what is stopping the coachee from achieving what he wants. So sometimes we may get deeper into his ways of life, and his situations in life, what made him to become what he is now. So it's always important that we cater to the needs of coaching. So there can't be a rigid structure, I would say. Yeah,
Okay. So you spoke about the needs of a coachee or what the coachee wants, right?
yeah,
And the conversation flows in the direction of what the coachee wants to achieve and what their goals are.
yeah,
But what if the coachee is not aware about what they want, or what if they simply don't have any questions? I mean, they are aware of the fact that they do need help. They need
yeah,
help in going towards a direction, towards a new path, or anything.
yeah,
But what if they do not have any questions for you? What if they do not have a set goal in mind? What happens then?
yeah. See, if you see, go back to the core of coaching. The core of coaching, coaching starts with the goal in mind. Like so generally we go to coaching only when you have something in mind. But very often people are confused. Like they know that they want some change, they want to progress in whatever areas they're looking for, but they're not sure. That clarity is not there. So there are very often such instances come up, and the best thing is to allow some time for them to think over, right? And see, another very critical aspect in coaching is we always want to make sure what the coachee want to achieve aligns with his goals, with his values, with his purpose. See, it's not because someone has told him to do something. If he's trying to do that, he may not be successful, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it is very important to understand is that what he's trying to achieve aligns with his purpose, with his values. So we often get into different aspects of his life. Like, for example, you say, how is his relationship with his family, or, that is what we sort of talk about 360-degree analysis, right? Sometimes they may want to do something, but health may be stopping them from doing what they want to do. Health may be a big concern, or it can be a finance, may be a big concern. So the most important aspect of coach is that you have to understand what is truly bothering him, because one aspect of life impacts other aspect of life. They may say that I want to do this, but in reality, the pain area is something different. And if we don't address that,
Mm-hmm.
we may not be able to work on the goal. It's always good to give some time for them to think over. And
Mm-hmm.
see, it's like everybody is unique and different. Being born as human beings, everybody is unique. Some people are very vocal about it, some people don't open up, they take time. It's okay. Like we are not here to judge, and we have to give it space for them, right? It's very important to understand their personality. It's okay sometimes, 2 sittings, 3 sittings, they may not even open up what exactly they want.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay, because see, one of the coaching works only when we build a trust, when we build that rapport, right? And that is also very important. So it's okay if they are not able to come out with exactly what they want. It's okay, but we should give time for them to uh, think over. And of course, we can give pointers in terms of, like, for example, if somebody says that I want to do this, and maybe I will ask that how it is going to change your life. And another very interesting question we often ask is, we want to make sure that they truly want that, right? Only then coaching can be impactful. So on a scale of 1 to 10, if they say, someone says 6, 5, 4, or 7, it is not really good. No, some we always expect that the goal should be so intense, right? Only then coaching can be highly impactful.
Yeah.
So we always good to give time. That is what I would say, because
Mm-hmm.
some people open up quickly, and some people are have that clarity in mind in terms of what exactly they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always good that we give some time. And again, there is no defined answer for that. It all depends upon the coachee and the situation.
Yeah.
Only then we can decide. Yeah,
So, one thing that I noticed in your answer, a pattern actually, is
yeah,
that when a coachee doesn't have any questions for you, it's very important that you have questions for them and that
correct.
you are asking them the right questions. Is that right?
Absolutely, absolutely. See, because As coaches, we don't give suggestions or answers,
Mm-hmm.
but we are here to empower them. We are here to make them accountable, make them responsible.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say responsible, accountable, we are asking right questions for them to think for themselves, right? So one of the core aspect here is bringing that self-awareness in them about what is stopping them from doing what they want to do, or understanding their own patterns, right?
Mm-hmm.
Own thought patterns, or it can be habits, it can be routines. So we ask right questions which can stimulate them to think for themselves, right? So we act like a catalyst. We ask right questions so that they start thinking on the right direction. They start taking actions on right directions. So questioning is a very powerful tool, very powerful tool, and this sets the path for the next steps. So if they don't have anything to ask, maybe I will ask them some question. Maybe sometimes, see, imagine just a situation, you come and sit and you do nothing, nothing is there, and you don't know what to ask. Maybe you can just ask, what is bothering you today? It can be so casual like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or what is bothering you today? Or what you have been thinking for last few days? And it can be anything like that. So ultimately, our questions should help them to, empower themselves,
Yes.
definitely, and take the next steps. That is what I would say.
And sometimes when they don't have questions,
Yeah,
our questions as coaches should make them think and
absolutely.
should ignite some questions in them, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so I mean, thank you for that. And what about the fact that even though as coaches we are the ones asking questions to them, or sometimes even when they are replying or asking questions, how important is that we listen to them,
yeah,
right? And that we're listening to understand rather than listening to respond. Would you say that listening is a vital part of a coaching conversation?
absolutely, Sakshi. No doubt about it. See, if you see any coaching conversation, I would say 80%, mostly, or more than, in fact, more than 80%, you will be listening. So listening is a very, very powerful tool. People think listening is for responding. It is not for responding. It is for understanding, building rapport, building trust. There are so many dimensions of listening. Listening is a very, very powerful tool. Unfortunately, today, listening is not taught in schools. We go to schools to read, write, everything, but listening is not taught. They say that if you can enhance your listening skills, the quality of relationship you have with everybody on the earth will change. Because today there's so many conflicts just because nobody's willing to listen to another, right? Listening is a very, very powerful tool. Again, coming back to coaching, one of the most powerful tool we have is listening. Of course, we see, listening is not just for words, because sometimes people may say yes, yes, but they actually really mean no. See, when we are listening, we have to understand the body language, uh, the change of energy. Because, see, body and mind is connected. If they are talking something passionate, you can sense the change in their energy, the tone, the voice, the energy. Sometimes you should also listen to silence. Silence is telling you something very powerful, right? And sometimes they may not even be vocal about it. And you should be very comfortable with silence in coaching. And see, what happens is, generally, for most of us, there's the inner chatter, right? The voice in our head. It is always talking something, and we have to quieten that. That is one of the very powerful thing. In fact, as coaches, what we take to coaching conversation is our presence. What is presence? Being presence comes from being present,
Mhm.
and that is what is required in coaching. So the inner chatter in a coach should stop, and when you are listening with rapt attention to someone, uh, that is where, where you will understand the pain areas of the coachee, or you will be able to add tremendous value. it depends upon the way you listen. Listening is a very, very critical skill as a coaches.
Hmm.
And see, again, listening, uh, it's not just about words. Again, as I said, it's about the tone, the voice, the energy, change in the body language. Because even sometimes the eye movements, like, they start sometimes seeing up something, like, so of course, body language, you will naturally, you will learn all those things when you give complete attention to your conversation. uh, See, body has our own intuition, it has its own intuition, and it has its own capability to absorb things, especially when you are sitting in person. They say that, right? Of course, again, I'm not going into spirituality, but when you sit next to a person, you don't have to talk. You can still feel sense the energy of that person. You don't have to talk. We can still feel good or bad. No, if sometimes you may imagine you're traveling in a bus, you go and sit next to someone. You may not even talk. You may not be dressed great, but you feel comfortable. You feel, there's some intuition within us which says yes, it is safe to sit with next to him. And sometimes they might have dressed beautifully and look great, but still our intuition says that. So what I'm talking is, these things are very subtle things which as coaches we need to build that skill of sensing the energy, the aura, or the state of mind. So it's very important that we listen to them. And so sometimes they will not be able to express clearly what they want to say, so it's okay to stop. Sometimes they open up, and there is an emotional outburst. Sometimes they may cry, or sometimes they open up. It's always okay to give time. It is not that, you know s- see, there is a very powerful saying in emotional intelligence: you can heal what you express. Only when you express, it can be healed. So if they want to express something, and uh, so they may get into their childhood memories, and they may talk for say 10, 15, 20 minutes. It's okay, right? And we should allow that to happen. And we don't have to jump into what next. No, there's nothing next. Right? And we have to give that pause some time. uh, it's okay, like, we don't have to conclude coaching session with next thing. Like, there is no goal there. Like, if they want to express, be in silence, that is absolutely fine, and can always talk next time, right? And yeah, so listening is a very powerful skill, and Sakshi, and definitely no doubt about it.
All right. Well, you mentioned something about ending a coaching session in a way or thinking about a next session, right? But would you say that some people get what they want from a session by just attending one? Like, so, to rephrase my question,
Yeah.
is it possible that people can achieve their goals in just one sitting of a coaching session, or would they need maybe multiple sittings? I mean, does it
Okay.
depend on the issue that they want to resolve? Does it depend on the coachee itself? Or is coaching in general only a one time event, or does it always require multiple sittings?
Yeah. uh, See, I would say I would mostly lean on one thing. It depends on the coachee and his purpose. See, sometimes people come for a deeper transformation, right? And where coach have, like, they agree that we are going to sit for work for next 2 months or 8 sittings, whatever it is. But in reality, see, I don't know, a lot of people don't feel the need for coaching. They have an issue, they go. Take an example in a workplace. So they come to go to their manager saying that there is some issue. See, there are two options. As a manager, I can always tell them what to do. Go do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it will work. But rather than giving answers, my approach can be asking questions. That is where I wear a coaching hat, and I can ask questions like, so what is stopping you from doing this? What you can thinking you can do? Maybe I can ask some 3, 4 very powerful questions. Even one question can change the way he thinks. One question. So there are a lot of instances wherein one sitting can be most powerful. There can be aha moments. Even for 20 minutes conversation, if it is so intense, it's not about time. Again, and I go back and say that coaches are not paid for their time. Coaches are paid for the solutions they offer, for the results they give. So in one coaching session, there can be great discovery, right? And there can be uh, self discovery to a great extent, and they can take a lot of actions based on that. But there are situations like, for example, if somebody is coming for a lifestyle change or deeper transformation, then it is always good that going back to the learning principles, like call it the durable learning principles. You can learn when we give some space for that. So spacing also is very important. So that is why generally we for a typical coaching conversation, we say that okay, we'll work for 2 months, we'll every weekly once we can sit and things like that. We end up the conversation, we'd say by the time we meet next time, what actions you can take, what is the commitment from your side. So those questions are always there. So it depends on situation. But for example, in a very casual conversation, like for example, a very close friend comes to you or relative comes to you with a problem. See, there are two things you can do. You can do a way of you can be a mentor. You can say that yes, it has worked like this for me, you can do this. But as a coach, what we can do is we never give solutions. Rather than giving solutions, maybe we ask some couple of questions, get into the background, try to understand what is stopping them from achieving what they want, and then um, again we get into the coaching process. It can be very powerful, uh, so we cannot say what is right because it all depends on situation. And yes, coaching can be beneficial in one setting also, and it is necessary sometimes to sit for 8 times, 6 times, 4 times, depends on the coaching.
Okay. So a follow-up question to that: how long do you think it generally takes for people, for coachee to see the results?
Yeah. So again, the depends on situation. So coachee is coming with uh, see the intensity. Again, the coachee is so determined to achieve what he wants. They can start seeing results because there are instances I have seen in my own experience. The moment once we speak, and by the time they come next time, they would have had 10 points saying that okay, I started getting up early in the morning. I'm spending so much time on this. This is a routine I've changed. This is my outlook. They come with so much of action points saying that yes, this is what I've done, right? And one session can transform them, no doubt about it. Because see, that's what, like, it's not about time, right? It's about the intensity with two people meet with great intention. It can transform them. It can say, in fact, there are instances, again, I always give spiritual examples. Like, they say that when you meet an enlightened soul, it can be a fraction of second. We don't even have to speak, right? And uh, taking the clue from that, even coaching, it can happen. It need not be 10 settings or 5 settings. It can be just one setting. It can be so powerful, right? And that samvad, that it can be very intense. That coaching can be very intense. So people can get results even in one sitting if they are committed, I'm telling you. And another beauty, I would like to add one interesting thing in coaching. So whenever, very often we ask that to coaches when they come for coaching session, we ask them, what is that you want to achieve from today's conversation? We'll ask that question. So we say that by end of this conversation, this is the problem statement I have. This is the problem I have. I would like to work on this. This is the result I want to see. So I try to get a clue from coach itself to understand what is he trying to achieve from this conversation, from today's conversation. So if somebody comes for say one sitting, we can have a goal for that. He might say that okay, this is the biggest challenge I have. Maybe I need to work on that. So we will not digress there. We will focus on that point where the coachee want to work. So we will ask questions on that. We will contemplate. We will listen. Again the basic question of empowering them, making them accountable, asking the right questions. then there is results right away there, because they know that what is the issue, what they want to achieve, and what they want to resolve for the day. That helps definitely. Again, questioning is a very powerful tool, as I told you. It's a very, very powerful tool. One question can change the entire conversation. It can take to a different level altogether.
Yes, that's right. And I mean, I think we talked a lot about what the coaching process looks like, right? What are the questions and how important it is to ask the right questions, and
Yeah.
listening is a vital part of the process. But let me ask you a big question now, which I'm sure most people think about. How does coaching really help you? I mean, what does it do? Is it psychological? Is it strategic? Is it open ended, goal oriented? What if I don't know my goal? What if I can't achieve my goal? How do I change my mindset? So, what would you like to say about that?
No, this is something. I would say it would require some, another long discussion on this, I would say,
Okay.
because it is a very intense question. Maybe we can cover in
Mm-hmm.
our
All right. So, I
next.
think
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can discuss more about this in our next episode.
definitely. Absolutely. Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
See you then.
Thank you.